And then I started drinking again when my kid was 3 years old. And I just had one glass of wine. Because I forgot. That's the problem with being an alcoholic. I forget that I have a problem. So I had one glass of wine, and it wasn't long before everything I said I wasn't going to do, drinking around my kid, drinking with her in the tub, all these things that I said I wasn't going to do, even drinking and driving with her in the car. I was like, I was afraid I was going to kill her.
I am mentally strong, learn it, live it, level up, regardless what life brings. I will live mentally strong.
I own a bookkeeping firm. We only do nonprofits. So we're kind of like the whole finance department for nonprofit organizations that are between like 2 million and say 30 million that are using QuickBooks Online.
Okay. And you have been sober?
22 years.
Yay.
Yeah.
Very proud of that, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. And we actually started talking a little bit offline in the beginning here. And there was a little bit of fear about telling your story. You really feel like you're in a very happy place right now.
Yes.
And I actually helped you identify, like, maybe there's, like you're afraid of this success. You're afraid of this happiness.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what that feels like and where you are in your life.
Yeah, well, Brene Brown has this, in one of her books, she talks about there's a scene, if you're looking at a movie and there's a scene where the family is laughing and they're playing music and they're driving down the highway, you know what's going to happen next is that there's going to be some tragedy, right? And she's encouraging us to rethink, but it was that, it's that kind of mindset that I feel like my business is going well. I don't work myself to death. I make good money. Personally, the business makes good money. My employees all make good money. I have a wonderful girlfriend. I live in a wonderful place. I get to look at the bay every day. I'm just like, everything is good. So I just feel like, can this possibly be true? And I'm waiting for the car accident,
Yeah. But we don't have to live a movie, right? But, having a history of addiction, I'm sure there's parts of your life that are traumatic or, I don't know if this is true of your story, but in mental health, we often talk about like trauma being the gateway to addiction. Are you willing to share some of that? When did you know that you were an addict? Let's start there.
I was pretty young. When I first started drinking, I was in high school. And it was, I was not that far out of high school before I realized, ooh, this is a problem. This is a problem. My father was an alcoholic. I knew it was a problem, but I didn't want to quit. And I definitely didn't want to join AA. I went to some of the meetings. I thought it was dumb. And actually, I was a little bit afraid that I was going to have to give up who I am as a feminist, as a, powerless. Like, are you kidding me? I want to be powerful. Like, I'm a woman in this world. I have to work to be powerful. So being powerless was a problem. So it wasn't until, I had quit drinking many times for several years at a time.
Okay.
And then I started drinking again when my kid was 3 years old. And I just had one glass of wine. Because I forgot. That's the problem with being an alcoholic. I forget that I have a problem. So I had one glass of wine, and it wasn't long before everything I said I wasn't going to do, drinking around my kid, drinking with her in the tub, all these things that I said I wasn't going to do, even drinking and driving with her in the car. I was like, I was afraid I was going to kill her.
Yeah.
And I knew I wouldn't be able to.
And at this point, you're already a financial bookkeeper. You have a business? Or
I didn't
this
have
was
a business then. I actually did have a business, but it was a different business.
Okay.
A different business, which I sold a few years later. But I was like, no, it doesn't matter.
You were risking everything.
I was risking everything.
Yeah.
And I knew that, okay, if what it requires is for me to give up my identity, to be powerless, because I was so desperate, I was willing to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
let's talk about that powerlessness, because it's one of my things that I struggle with. I'm not personally in AA, but, patients who are seeing me and also in AA, of we also need self-agency.
Yes.
We also need to take our power back.
Yes.
So what does that first step mean to you today?
Oh, it's such a great question. It's such a great question, because I am powerless over alcohol,
But not everything.
but not everything. And what's so great about AA and the steps is that I get to see that I do have in fact, all of the ways, no matter what has happened to me in my life, in my childhood, for example, I could tell you all the stories.
Oh, we'll
that
go
might
there.
Make you cry or make me cry. But the truth is, if I'm living in that story, if I'm like wanting my mom to be different, my mom is dead. I can't, like sitting here wishing the past was different or thinking that somehow I'm going to change the past. That's me being ridiculous. If I start here right now and say, I cannot change the past, but I can be right here and decide what I'm going to do today and forward.
Yeah.
That's me being powerful, taking my power back.
Yes, I love it.
I'm not a victim. I am in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I love that, and I hope you can find a place to share that as well, because I do think that first step of powerlessness keeps people away. And how many years did it keep you away from AA? That word.
Yeah, just
powerless.
that word. I went to AA in college, and then I didn't get sober in AA until I was 37. So
Okay.
there were a lot of years in there that I didn't drink,
Okay.
thankfully.
Right.
But yeah, I stayed away from. AA has given me the emotional intelligence to navigate life in ways that I wasn't able to do just by not drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were talking about the mentally strong method being a flywheel, and you're like, oh, you're like a light bulb went off that AA has been your flywheel.
Yes.
Of being able to think and how is it? Tell us how it's a flywheel for you.
Well, it really is. The thing about the flywheel is that once you get it going, it just keeps going.
Yes.
It has its own momentum, right?
Right.
And even when you go to an AA meeting, I don't know if you've ever been, but they do the same thing every time. They'll read the same literature. Yeah. They do this. It's almost ridiculous, but after a while, it becomes poetry. It becomes beautiful. It becomes like, oh, this is my home.
Right.
And so, and then the words start actually having meaning. In the rooms, almost all the time we read how it works, and the first few times you might hear it, and then after a while it just becomes wah 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 wah.
Yeah.
But recently, and I'm 22 years sober. Recently, I started thinking, oh, this is how it works. Like those are the words that they're saying, and I just heard like how it works. So anyway, the point is, I do all these things that I'm told to do in AA, which sounds like I'm being compliant to somebody else. It really is. It's sort of like, if it's working, do that.
Right.
So I go to meetings, I pray, I meditate, I journal, I talk to people. I have a lot of friends in AA, and that's my flywheel.
Yeah.
If I have an issue with my kid, I'll call somebody in my program, in my phone.
Yeah.
We talk about it.
Talk to us about the spiritual component. I think either people avoid AA because there appears to be a spiritual component. But I think in general, in the mental health of our country, because people are afraid to be proselytized to a certain belief system, that we're avoiding our spiritual health in general. So tell us about where you are spiritually, how your spiritual journey has impacted your sobriety and your mental health.
AA is called Alcoholics Anonymous for a reason, and I don't want anybody to think that I can speak for AA or for any. I'm even probably a little bit on the edge here talking publicly, but I read Elizabeth Gilbert's book where she's all about it, so I'm like, oh.
Well, but really, you're just telling your story.
I'm going to tell my story.
How it impacts you.
Yeah. So I grew up in South Carolina, Southern Baptist, hellfire, brimstone, and I rejected religion for the reasons, and also I'm gay, and it just felt like what religion wanted of me wasn't, and I wasn't interested in that at all. But to think to go into AA, again, desperate, down on my knees kind of thing. And they said, it doesn't matter what you believe. As long as, I don't know, and even now, I don't know what God is. All I know is it's not me. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Fair. And right now I can say, that escalator, I couldn't stop it. Right? That escalator, I couldn't stop that escalator. I couldn't stop the wind. I can't stop the ocean. Clearly there is a power greater than me, even if it is just the ocean or electricity or, momentum. Who knows what it is. But clearly maybe God is a thing. Maybe it's just a whole bunch of actions. I have no idea. And I've decided I don't need to know. It's just not me. God is not me. I am not God. That's all I
love that conclusion. It's like I don't know. I don't know the details, but it's not me.
It's not me. So what I do know is that when I quit fighting reality. So I think if I had a definition of God, it would be reality. I'm hungry. I should eat. That's just reality. It's not God saying you should eat.
Right.
It's kind of like I'm going to comply because I'm hungry, not because God is saying something and I'm obedient.
Right.
And it's same.
Yeah. That's a beautiful, and it's important that it's your story, and that is part of the healing and the community that people can help each other and not be a specific saying this is a specific way, right?
Right.
So let's talk about the hard stuff now.
Sure.
What got you to the point where you were using alcohol to numb pain? What would you say you were using alcohol for? Let's start there.
I don't know. Here's what I can say. I can say I was adopted.
Okay.
And I can say, maybe there's a sense of belonging that I never had. I can say I had instances of just feeling like my mom didn't like me. She loved me and she was taking good care of me, but she didn't like me very much. I can say that I experienced sexual abuse. I can say,
that sounds like a lot of pain, actually.
Yeah.
But you didn't identify when I said like the alcohol suppressing pain. That didn't resonate with you.
None of it feels like the thing.
Oh,
right.
It was a cumulative.
It feels like there's this soup that I'm swimming in that is just incredibly uncomfortable. And I wanted to not be so uncomfortable. So whether it's because I don't feel like I belong or I'm not interesting or, I'm trying to avoid this or bring more of that, whatever it is, I was uncomfortable. And alcohol allowed me to escape that.
Yeah.
Just
uncomfortable. That's a real thing. And I think acknowledging that it doesn't have to be one specific trauma or pain.
Right.
Just uncomfortable with the reality. And that's kind of been a theme for you, like reality, bigger than you, like something you can't control.
Right.
Right. And that feels uncomfortable.
Yeah. When I was 18, I got kicked out of the house for being gay. You could say that was the reason, but I was already drinking alcoholically before that.
Right.
My father's an alcoholic. My parents are divorced. Like, whatever. It just feels like discomfort.
Yeah.
And, I'm that classic definition of an alcoholic where once I have one,
that's it.
I want more and more and more and more. And then I have that obsessive mind that says drink. So I'm just the classic definition of an alcoholic in that way. But I've done so much work on myself through the program and really through therapy and other things like that I could talk about these things and not feel all the sadness.
Yeah.
I've brought it up and looked at it and dealt with it, and I don't want to be a victim to that anymore.
Yeah.
Now
that's one of the things.
To be me.
Yeah. I talk about, I wanted to title my documentary Confronting Grief, but the marketing people said that was a little too harsh. But, you talked about like, I brought these things up and I looked at them.
Yeah.
We need to do that.
Yeah.
To feel comfortable.
Right.
Like comfortable in our story
Yes.
is another thing that I talk about a lot. Like we all have a story, and being comfortable in that. So how comfortable would you say you are now?
Way more comfortable.
Yeah.
I can still be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I owned a business. This is not my first business, but I owned a business that was called Fire Girl. And it was about hot sauce, but it had all this personality online. And when I met people in person, I was so afraid that I was going to be a disappointment from, the personality that I had put out online.
Right, right.
And so it's that level of discomfort that, here I can feel at the WPO conference, I can feel like I'm not going to be interesting, or my business isn't big enough, or you said $2 million.
Yeah.
It's $1 million.
Oh, okay.
It's $1 million for service-oriented businesses and $2 million for
Okay,
product.
okay.
I was like, oh no, I'm not $2 million. I'm only 1.75. And then I'm like, only 1.75?
Yes.
I'm in the 4 percentile, the
Yeah.
four, whatever it is. So I can feel like inadequate and learn that I'm in the 4th percentile or whatever.
I didn't mean to
I guess it
contribute.
couldn't be 4th percentile. Mathematically, it would have to be like the 90. 90.
Okay, the bookkeeper says. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and I think it will definitely help people.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.